Hello everyone. I am Rishali Roy, President of Advantage India. On behalf of Advantage India, I would like to invite you all for the Prelude session on breaking down the barrel refining technologies training program, which is going to be commenced from 26th of December. The instructor of the course is Mr. Sameer Garg, sir, former General Manager IOCL, having 36 plus years of experience. Before that, before the prelude session, I would like to introduce Advantage India to all of you because we have some new participant as well. They have to know about us. So yeah, I won't take much time as I know everyone is very much excited to know about this prelude session. So Advantage India is an e-learning platform. We are aiming to guide students with the depth knowledge of various industries and domains. Our team is a group of passionate professionals and endeavoring to construct a platform where young and dynamic people come together to interact with industry professionals. Advantage India is committed to excellence, pledging the high quality of students' experience via a range of coaching techniques and methodologies. We create a state-of-the-art training courses that offer students mind with the competencies they wish to be trumping at. Why Advantage India? What distinguishes other similar organization is the fact that we strive to maintain optimum quality with 30 plus hardworking individuals who have a same goal as learners today, leaders tomorrow. We have registration and interest with other following colleges as UPS, ISM, Dhanbad, PDPU, GSE Barmer, RGI PT, MIT Pune, RTO Kota, SRM University, Kalgotia College, DIT University, Dehradun, Graphic Era, Dibrugarh University, Parul University, and Presidency College. Why e-learning platform? India was yet to experience a growth curve in online learning the way US or China had in the recent past year. But the world has accelerated by the growth 5 to 7 years within a time period of few months. Our vision is to create an interactive platform to connect students with the professional in domain of their interest. We will not only correspond with the technical aspects, but aim to cover the interpersonal skill of the student. Jent, change the screen. We had past endeavors as directional drilling course with Amit Kumar sir. Then we had drilling engineering and well intervention course, construction course with Milan sir. Then mine Martian quiz as it was based on the aptitude test. We had webinar on well completion accessories by Manish Verma sir. Webinar on the importance of planning for the startups in the oil and gas industry. Then we had webinar on data science in association with GeoIn services.
Yeah, I would like to add one more point here, Rushali. So Advantage India is the first online e-learning platform who had conducted the live webinar sessions for the students of oil and gas industry. As we know that during the COVID-19, lots of business has been affected because of logistics has been stopped or movement has been stopped during the countries. Okay, so at that time, whatever facilities we have with our industrial persons, we try to show all the equipments of well completions by Manish Verma sir, because he has been lot of experience, more than 10 plus years of experience working in Halliburton. He organized, he arranged all the equipments which are we are using at well site for the completion purpose. So we present or show all the equipments or live demonstration of the equipments to our participants, and these are the one of the biggest webinar for Advantage India, because we received more than 200 plus participants within 1 and 2 hours. So for this large number of rounds, we are conducting this quiz webinar in 2 sessions, because in first session we have enrolled only 100 students, and the second session we covered remaining students. So this webinar is one of the biggest webinar of oil and gas, like for Advantage India. Yeah, we can continue, Rushkali.
Thank you so much for the information, sir. Jain, change the slide to the technical advisor side. We have technical advisors with us, Mr. Sanjay Joshi, sir, who is having 25 plus years of experience in well management consultancy, Dubai. Then we have Milan Gokhale, sir, who is having 30 plus year of experience in drilling engineering. Mr. Vipin Bhalla, sir, who is having 30 plus years of experience in drilling and well control instructor. Then we have Sameer Kale, sir, who is having 30 plus years of experience in well intervention and stimulation. Pulkit Goyal, sir, 14 plus years of experience, founder and chief well engineer, PGS Oilfield Technology. We have one more technical advisor as Ishan Thakkar, sir. He is founder of geology of Parul University. Thank you so much, Jayan, for this wonderful presentation. I would like to introduce our instructor, Sameer Garg,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you so much, Rushali, for this wonderful information about Advantage India. And I would like to tell one more thing for all the participants, because as we know that most of participants are from last year and they are struggling for the job. So guys, please do not lose hope, because oil and gas industry start booming since December. And the information we are gathering from the out of country or like news, that the oil and gas industry start booming, and it will continue further for 2020. So great news will be come. So do not lose hope, try to learn as much as possible, and one day the opportunity knocks your door. So always motivate yourself by learning different kinds of skills, different set of skills, because mindset is very important. We have a different two types of people in everywhere: mindset and skill set. So mindset is very important. Skill set is already developed. So try to balance between them and continue learning, okay, as much as possible. One day definitely we will get some job and all. I just invited the instructor of this today's session, Mr. Sameer sir. Sameer sir, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, sir. Sir, just 2 minutes. I want to introduce you, and then you
Yeah,
can take over this. So
yeah,
sorry, sir.
no problem.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. So we have our instructor at Sameer, sir, who is mechanical engineer with post graduation in industrial management. He has done mechanical engineer from IIT BHU and MBA specialization in petroleum management. He is having over 36 plus years of experience in supply and distribution, marketing and sales of petroleum and petrochemical products via various channels in IOCL, the largest national company of India. Worked He also worked at corporate office in business development, All India supply and distribution, and gas business. He established IOC polymer business worth 20,000 crores per annum. He also worked for LNG at the doorstep project of IOC. He joined Indian Oil Corporation Limited Marketing in June 1983 and superannuated in February 2020 as General Manager Aviation from Head Office Mumbai. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for being here on Advantage India platform. I would like you to continue further. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rushali. Thank you, at Advantage, for arranging this session. And I welcome all the participants for this Prelude session, and thanks them for joining this session. In this session, I will uh, I will try to cover whatever we propose to cover in upcoming sessions. And session-wise, we will give you the topics and the details of the detailed breakup of each topic. On the onset, I would like to tell all the participants, this is not, though this is said as a training course It is not a educational or training course. It is more sharing experience, what I had in last 36 years, the real lifetime experiences. I will cover 360 degree of oil industry, what I have seen, right from the crude exploration till marketing of each product, including polymers and petrochemicals. Session-wise details, I have made a small presentation for each session, what all topics I will cover. So I will request Rishali to put the slides on the view, so that I can explain what all I wish to cover in the coming sessions. Sorry. So this is all about breaking barrels. So before we start that different session, it is very important to have an overall view of the oil and gas industry. So we will just touch upon in the starting hydrocarbons in our life. You know that hydrocarbons are in our life right from in the morning till late in the night, in the office, in the bed, or in the toilet. Everywhere we have some product or other product which is made of hydrocarbons. So in the session we will start so that we can have a connectivity, what all from hydrocarbons we are living with. This will be, yeah, and it will be followed by, of course, the basic ingredient for the oil industry is crude production, trade and consumption. So we'll explain in the first session, we'll give you an overview of oil production, trade and consumption in terms of supply and demand worldwide. It will be followed by a scenario of Indian industry, how much various petroleum products being consumed in India, where all being consumed geographically, and all India scenario will give, followed by a refining network and marketing network in India. In the first session, it will be an overview, and we will cover in detail each topic. The next session will be on natural gas production, and this is another big stream. Please, yeah. This is another very large industry, upcoming industry, where a lot of job opportunities are coming up, because almost 300 cities, government is planning to set up city gas distribution system. And then we'll cover domestic natural gas industry, which is another part of natural gas production consumption, and a lot of natural gas is being imported. In the first session, we'll also cover, we'll touch upon on petrochemicals and major polymers, which we will deal in detail in the subsequent slides. So this all we will cover in the session 1. Then next slide, please. Yeah. So the most important for oil industry is crude oil. So we will talk about crude oil, how it is generated in the nature, its exploration and production. What I find EDvantage has been taking many sessions on drilling and production of crude oil. Still, we will touch upon in one session basics of drilling process and production of crude oil. Many and also many wells which have stopped or which are not giving sufficient production. Enhancement techniques, secondary and tertiary methods are used. We will touch upon those methods. And then we will talk about Indian crude oil production, though the production of crude oil in India is very limited, only 10 to 15% of total requirement. But still, we need to know how much crude oil and where it is being produced in India. And the last but not the least is the economics. At the end of the day, the money is important. So we will touch upon how crude oil is priced and what are the costs involved in exploration and production of crude oil. So this is it will conclude the second session. Then we'll go to third session. Again, the crude oil is very important, and in the previous slide, we have seen the method of producing a crude oil. But while you decide for putting up a refinery, you need to know what kind of crude oils are available. You know that each crude oil of each field is different. So while setting up a refinery, it is very important to understand what types of crudes are available in India uh, in India or abroad, which are available near to your refinery, which you can procure. So we will study about different types of crudes. And then once you are putting up a refinery, crude selection is very important, because depending on the product slates you want to have, accordingly you have to select a crude. Then buying crude, because it is the largest traded commodity, and success of a refinery depends on buying crude. So how crude is traded worldwide, how it is priced, how people purchase it, what is the method of purchasing it, and that we need to know all these things before we can go into acquiring the crude for our refinery. Or while planning a refinery, you need to know all these aspects of trading, pricing, and purchasing well in advance. Without that, you can't think of a refinery at all. And the last but not the least, the logistics. The crude oil logistics is very important, because for running a refinery, you have to buy a crude, you have to place your order almost a year before. And while crude is loaded, it is almost 2 months before it starts traveling towards your refinery. And by the time it reaches to your refinery, it is almost 30 to 60 days before you think of processing it. So by the time when you buy a crude, it is of different price. And when you process it, by the time the price of the products changes a lot. So therefore, the logistics is very important, and you have to feed a refinery round the clock. So we need to understand logistics, what kind of ships you need. And then you have to develop unloading facilities, you have to have storage facilities, you have to have transportation facilities. Before you think of locating a refinery, you have to think of crude oil in totality. If you fail on that, in that case, you may not, you may end up with a refinery which is not economical, because everything costs money, and having a economic logistic model and procurement system is very important. So we need to know all about the crude, and this we will cover in this session. Now coming to the next session. This is another very important session. Like once you have taken a crude, while deciding on a refinery, before we start this session, we will touch upon a little bit on organic chemistry, because we will use so many terminologies, so many products named. So we'll just touch upon the classification of organic compounds which are being used in this refinery, or which we'll use while talking of refinery, because we will produce ethylene, propylene, ethane, propane. We'll talk so often. So knowing a little bit about organic chemistry in the beginning, so we'll spend 10 to 15 minutes on 10 minutes or 15 minutes on organic chemistry. And then we will go to refining process. In the refining process, you need to have separation, you have to do blending, you have to do upgradation of the product, you have to do refining of the products, you have to remove unwanted elements from the products, like petrol cannot have benzene, HSD has to have its own octane, cetane number, MS has to have octane number. And earlier people were using tetraethyl lead to improve the octane number. Today you can't use. So how you improve the quality of petrol? How do you improve the, how do you remove the sulfur from the HSD, or remove sulfur from petrol, which is nowadays in 5 to 10 ppm in products. So quality requirement is very stringent. Accordingly, you have to put additional units in the refinery. So while talking to on refining process, we will talk of various units, their outputs. Like the basic unit would be CDU, that is the starting unit. We will talk what all is output of the CDU. Then what is the feed for VDU? VDU is vacuum distillation unit. And then the leftover of VDU is processed in FCCU or hydrocracker or coker. Then you use desulfurization for removing sulfur. You use several separation units. You need alkalization for enrichment of petrol, so that its octane number is higher. Without and benzene is removed from the petrol. So all these, and apart from that, many other units we will talk. We will talk entire refinery units in detail. We have kept 2 sessions because it would be a lengthy talk on designing a refinery. A refinery can have a complexity of a refinery is known in terms of Nelson index. Nowadays, people are making very complex refineries, which has several units, and people are designing refineries with almost nil heavy ends, so that you can make maximum money out of crude oil from processing of the crude oil. So nowadays, aim is to have only lighter products, no heavy ends. Even people are putting coal gasification units so that whatever coke you produce, you gasify it into more valuable products. So idea is to have lighter and lighter products so that you can make more and more money. In crude oil processing, I would like to tell you, the more you produce gasoline and naphtha products lighter than diesel, that only makes money. Below that, diesel and below doesn't make much money. So the aim of a refiner is always to produce more gasoline or more LPG or more natural gas, so that they can make more money and the cracking margins are better. We will talk what is cracking margins once we talk about refinery economics. So this is our 4th and 5th session where we will talk refining in detail. Next session. In the 6th session, we will talk of all about marketing of petroleum products. It's a huge subject. Each product needs a different channel to market. MSHSD, we are well aware. LPG also, we are well aware. MSHSD, you have to market through retail outlet, but there are certain institutional buyers also. For them, you have to have different channels. HSD is also bought by shipping industry, which is known as bunkering. They also buy furnace oil, LDO, some other products also they buy. So for each kind of customers, you have to have a different channel of marketing. You have to build a huge distribution and marketing channel, supply and distribution channel. You have to have intermediate storages, and then you have to have pipelines. So we will talk all about how MS and HSD is distributed all along India, and how it is used in, how it is transported in multi-product pipelines. Then LPG, we are all aware, it reaches to our house in small cylinders, but it is transported through pipelines to various bottling plants, and it reaches to your house. So it has its own logistics, which we will discuss in detail. The various bottling plants we will discuss all over India. And then comes the aviation, ATF, aviation turbine fuel. It is chemically, it's kerosene only, but it is having less moisture or nil moisture and less amount of corrosive elements like chlorine or sulfur. Because if it is to be put in aircraft where engines are made of silver pumps, so that there is a chances of corrosion. And if a aircraft flies it in high altitude, there are chances that fuel may freeze, which may choke the filters. Accidents have happened in past. So the entire ATF channel has to be very strong quality control channel. As produced in refinery, it has to reach in the aircraft. Otherwise, aircraft may, because you can't park aircraft in midway. So it is very important. Kerosene, we all know it is worldwide, there is no kerosene is produced. Mostly ATF is sold as kerosene. In India, some kerosene is produced, and it is, we know as, it's a PDS product. It is controlled by government for poor people. So it has a different channel of marketing. So we need to discuss about this. Lubricants, of course, is another major area where base oils are made from hydrocarbons, and then you add additives to this, and you produce several kind of lubricants from, and you pack from 20 ml to 200 liters barrels, even it is supplied in bulks. So we'll talk a little bit on lubricants also in this session. Natural gas, we have kept a separate session where we will talk how it is produced, how it is transported, how it is, which all area it comes to India, and how this industry is growing. For new aspirants, it's I would say there is a boom in this industry. Government is planning to increase its market from 6% to 15%. And recently they have announced opening of LNG stations where liquefied natural gas would be supplied to vehicles, or CNG will be supplied from those retail outlets. So it is very good to know how this industry is growing and how CGD is growing in this area. Then next comes the petrochemicals. Again, we'll be covering this petrochemicals in two different sessions where we'll talk about petrochemicals in detail. In next slides, I will show you what all we will cover on this. Polymers, it's a very, very big area, and it's an industry in itself. So we'll talk about polymers also in a separate session, which are the major polymers. Like polyolefins is a major area of polymers, which constitute almost 60% of total polymers worldwide. And then PVC is another 20% market. 10% is polystyrene. Balance is 10%, where you have covered all kind of polymers you can think of. So this is here we'll just talk of how these are being marketed in India. This is all about marketing of petroleum products. Next session. Yeah, we all know that pipeline is a major method of transporting crude oil, LPG. There is a multi-product pipeline, MS, HSD, SQ, all is pumped through the same pipeline to different parts of India. We have cross-country pipelines right from Gujarat to Bathinda. We have got pipeline from Haldia or Calcutta right up to Kanpur. And there are several pipelines that we will discuss what is the network of Indian pipeline. While talking of pipeline, we need to know what are important to design a pipeline. Of course, knowing the demand is one part, but knowing other technical things is also important. So we'll touch upon what are the basics we should consider while designing a pipeline. We will not go into very fine nitty-gritties, but we will go for a broad parameters which needs to be known before we design a pipeline, cross-country pipeline. What all safety aspects to be taken into consideration. And then comes the pipeline operation. It is again a very challenging operation because you pump different products in the same pipeline, one after another. So managing interface is a challenge nowadays with very stringent quality control issues. So we'll talk about these, what are the challenges we are facing and how this can be addressed and how people are planning to address in future, because you can't mix one interface into another product because of the stringent quality controls. Then comes the enhancing capacity. With time, many pipelines have reached their full capacity. Now it is a challenge to enhance the capacity of these pipelines. So many times DRAs are being used, drag reducers are being used, or many other methods are being used to debottleneck the pipeline so that you can pump more product from the pipelines. So knowing about pipeline is very important. Now the cross-country pipelines on LPG are being laid down. Natural gas is always there. One largest pipeline is from Hajira to Bathinda, or rather UP is we call it HBJ pipeline. It's again owned by GAIL. So we will talk about these pipelines in detail, and we will talk about the design operation capacity in this session. Next one. Yeah, here comes the sunshine industry for India today, natural gas and LNG industry. So we will talk all about how natural gas started. I don't know how many of you know that whenever you dig oil, natural gas comes out naturally. And prior to 1997, it was being all flared up. 1987, sorry. And after that, government started laying pipeline and thought of how to use this natural gas. So today almost 50% gas is produced by 50% natural gas in India is produced in India, and balance is imported. So we'll talk about LNG industry. That's how LNG industry started, is somewhere in 2004 or so, when the first LNG terminal came in India. So we'll talk which all LNG import terminals have come and which all are coming in India. And again, this natural gas industry is being regulated by government with several regulations. So we will talk about PNGRB Act, which is Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, which do not only regulate natural gas, they also regulate other products also. Their laying of pipeline, having terminals, or all infrastructure for transportation and movement of product is controlled by PNGRB. They have raised several regulations. We will talk about what all regulations have come in natural gas. Another upcoming area, as I talked earlier also, is CGD, City Gas Distribution. It's a very, very large area. Almost 1,700 to 1,800 retail outlets on CNG have come. CGD provides gas to retail outlets. It provides gas to several small industries, and it also provides gas to your houses also, which we call PNG. When we call it PNG, it's a low pressure gas. Gas to, for example, the gas transported in trunk lines is at 90 bar. The gas we supply to industries, large industries, is 20 bar. Small industries is 4 bar. And the gas which reaches to our house is only 0.2 bar or 0.02 bar. So 0.2 bar is the in nearby area. By the time it reaches to house, it becomes 0.001 bar. So that kind of distribution system is there for PNG. And we will also talk what is the future of natural gas industry, the way government is promoting. So this is all about natural gas. We will try to give you as much information as possible so that you can have a feel of this industry and look for opportunity, because several companies are coming in this area for several activities, not only for marketing CNG, PNGs. A lot of equipment companies are coming to provide to facilitate the distribution of natural gas in terms of retail outlets, in terms of compression, and we will talk you several equipments which are used for CGDs or for natural gas distribution. Next. If we go for oil and gas industry, it is very important to know the regulatory and administrative framework. Without that, you can't move in this industry, because it's a dangerous industry. It handles dangerous products, and it touches upon each and every individual of India. If a cylinder blasts in your house, it's an accident and there is a loss of life. So it touches every individual in terms of safety, in terms of economics, in terms of ease of getting supplies. So there is a regulatory framework, and government has a stringent framework for this. So we'll talk about various organizations which are there. First and foremost is MOPNG, which is Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, under which comes the PNGRB, Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. How this board came and what is the significance of this board, we will cover in this session. Then comes the PESO, Petroleum and Explosive Department of Government. It's a statutory body which gives license for any activity for storing and handling of petroleum products, or even for transporting, storage, transportation, and handling. Everything is covered by PESO regulations. You have to take a license from them. Then there is a OIDB, Oil Industry Development Board, which is a board made by government. Certain money of crude oil produced in India goes to OIDB, which works for development of oil industry in India. OISD is the, again, Oil Industry Safety Directorate. They lay down the standards for developing various installations or refinery or bottling plant or any oil industry activity is regulated as per OISD standards. Even PESO gives license based on OISD standard. If your terminal or refinery is not made as per OISD standard, then you will not get a license. So this is important. Then comes the regulation. Regulation, rules, and acts. We will also talk about The most important regulation in India is Petroleum Rules 2002, which has been amended time to time. It gives what all needs the license, what is the minimum requirement for all the activities who are handling storage and transportation of oil. Then comes the explosive rules, which deals with LPG and other explosive substance in the industry. PNGRB Act 2006. Actually, PNGRB was formulated under Act enacted by the Parliament, which is known as PNGRB Act 2002. And they have developed various regulations with respect to natural gas and petroleum oils. Then there are standards. I talked to you that OISD develops the standards. We will talk of several standards which have come for various activities, for terminals, for maintaining pumps, for maintaining safety, for laying down the standards, the distance norms. We will talk various aspects of OISD. Then comes the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which controls the supply and distribution of ATF. So you can't have a aviation terminal without clearance by DGCA, the Director General of Civil Aviation, which comes under MOCA, that is Ministry of Civil Aviation. Then comes the Ministry of Fertilizer and Petrochemicals. They control the petrochemical industry. They facilitate the import and export of petrochemicals. So that is also an important ministry, people who are into oil and gas industry or in petrochemicals. Next. This is another area I want to touch upon because at times it is known as threat also. Sometimes it is several areas are coming in renewable and alternate energies. Ethanol is one of it, where government today has made compulsory to add 10% ethanol in the petrol, because ethanol gives additional revenue to cane industry or sugar industry, and it is produced domestically. So to that extent, you need not to import the petroleum products. So government gives and it is also environmental friendly. The exhaust from the vehicles is reduced. So ethanol has been made compulsory. So we'll talk about ethanol. Today, government is promoting CBG, that is compressed biogas produced from gobar gas or from other bio waste. Government is giving special subsidies. They are planning some 5,000 CBG plants who will produce CNG, which will be supplied to the vehicles. So this is another area where government is trying to replace or substitute imported oil. Solar energy is another area which is, it is not directly replacing the oil, but it is seen as because it is a very cheap source of energy. So it is being seen as a threat to oil industry, not because it is replacing power. And with advent of EVs, electric vehicles, which will use solar energy. So what government is saying, if you use solar energy in EVs, then you don't need petroleum products. So in a way, oil industry feels threatened with EVs. If EVs come, our petrol industry will be affected. In certain countries have already declared that by 2030 or 2040, they will go for electric vehicles only. So we see a threat, and it is always debated whether EVs will be a threat for oil industry or not. I don't know whether you know or not that Reliance has already said one time that they will produce only ATF and balance 70% they will produce only petrochemicals, so that their future is secured. Diesel petrol may disappear in the future. So that kind of thought is going on. So it is very important to know the development in EVs. Another threat is coming, hydrogen mobility. Recently, government launched hydrogen spiked CNG. They say it is more efficient. It will use hydrogen. To that extent, your hydrocarbon requirement will reduce. It is just a beginning. We don't know how far it will go. It all depends on the technology which will come. And then CNG, we have already talked. We will again talk here how CNG is being promoted by government, and several government initiatives for replacement of fuel oils and for alternate energies, which may affect our oil and gas industry. But to what extent, it is debatable, and we will talk about it in this session. Next. Now, petrochemical is a very vast subject. So I thought I'll just introduce on petrochemicals. I'll have 2 sessions on this. First session, we will talk of ethylene and propylene and butadiene, which is a block building for polyolefins. And this is the largest traded petrochemicals, which are used for downstream for polymers. Ethylene, propylene are also used for several other products also. So we will talk what all can be produced from ethylene and propylene. These are the major petrochemicals, which if we, in terms of volume that we will, I think they will cover up almost 80% of petrochemicals. Then comes the butadiene. Butadiene is another C4 stream. Ethylene is C2 stream and propylene is C3 stream. Butadiene is C4 stream, which is used for making SBR and PBR, polybutyne rubber, and styrene butadiene rubber, which are substitute for natural rubber used for making tires. Styrene is again the part of which is used for polystyrene. This is a monomer. All above 4 are monomers. Then we talk of MEG, methyl glycol, which is again part of naphtha cracker. Ethyl oxide, which is again used for several other chemicals downstreams. LAB is linear alkyl benzene, which is used for detergents. And then PTA, purified terephthalic acid. So MEG and PTA together are used for making man-made fibers and polyester. All PET bottles are made from combination of these MEG and PTA, that is polyester. So again, it's a huge industry. First is polyolefins, and then this is polyester. This is again a big industry. We'll talk in terms of volumes and what all is produced through these combination of MEG and PTA, that is polyester. We will talk separately. Next one. So again, here the introduction to petrochemicals continues because it's too big an area and a lot of intermingling of the areas are there. Polyolefins we have talked. There it is basically polymers made of ethylene, propylene, and made of ethylene and propylene. It's a huge industry. We will take a separate session on polyolefins. Here we will talk about what all kind of polymers are made and where all used and how different products are produced. Then fiber and fiber intermediate, again, it is made of MEG and PTA. So we'll talk in detail about fiber and fiber intermediates. LAB we have discussed. Then again, BTX is aromatics, benzene, toluene, and xylene. Paraxylene is one input for your producing PTA. PVC, I told you, that is covers almost 20% of polymers. So again, we will talk about PVC. Then polystyrene, we will talk. This is a polymer made of styrene monomer. Then we will also touch upon engineering plastics and performance plastics and synthetic rubbers, PBR, SBR, and VS. We are all used, how produced, and we'll touch upon. Area is too big to touch upon in one session, so we'll just give you an overview of this. Next slide, please. So then, Naphtha cracker is a building block for polyolefins. Though polyolefins are ethylene, propylene are also produced from other process also. Like propylene is directly stripped out of LPG also, but naphtha cracker is a major building block for polyolefins, and it gives you ethylene and propylene. So knowing about naphtha cracker, steam naphtha cracker is very important. We will talk about design, operations, and output and economics of running naphtha cracker. Like Indian Oil had put 800 KT ethylene naphtha cracker way back in 2010. So we can discuss in detail, and we will know about the findings of naphtha cracker operation and downstreams, the full naphtha cracker complex where you have units for producing polypropylene, polyethylene, and you have unit for MEG, and you have a separate unit for SBR, and you can have several other units which can be put with time, because you get several other molecules which can be used for various other valuable downstreams. So this is all about Naphtha Cracker, and we'll talk in detail so that we can get a feel how Naphtha Cracker is built and how it is operated. Next one. Yeah, as I discussed that polyolefins. So we will talk about polyolefin because it makes almost 60% of your polyolefin market, your plastic market. It is very important to talk about polyolefins because it's a huge industry in India. Almost 10 million ton of polyolefins is sold in India. The different types is low density polyethylene and linear low density polyethylene, HDP.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah, sir. The third point is SDP, high density polyethylene. So
Yeah.
I think most of the pipelines is currently using made of SDP for the gas transportation. I have seen that in Sadur, Madhya Pradesh, where Reliance has taken production of coal bed methane, and he has building the pipeline from Sadur to Fulpur, Allahabad for transportation of gas, and all the pipelines are replaced by SDP, high density polyethylene.
No, there are guidance by PNGRB. You can't use all the pipelines of HDP depending on the safety. Certain they have guidance where you can use HDP pipeline and where you have to use steel pipelines. So wherever low pressure pipelines are there for city distribution, they use HDP. But if pipeline is in open, it has to be of steel. So pipeline connecting to your home has to be of steel. But pipeline under the low pressure pipelines, which are within soil, that can be of HDPE. But it cannot be high pressure pipeline. It has to be low pressure pipeline. So for transport, you need low pressure only. So you
Yes,
use
sir. Yes, sir.
HDPE.
Basically, but they are using HDPE pipeline because all the pipelines are below the earth surface.
Yeah, yeah.
And
for low, because for domestic gas, you need low pressure gas only. Pressure is not high. So it is better to use HDPE pipeline. And it government permits for using HDPE.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Then comes a polypropylene. Again, it's a major polymer which is used for several purposes, for white goods, for transportation of water and transportation of sewage, and it has several applications. We will talk of different applications. It is very important while covering oil and gas to cover these polymers. So I propose to cover on these polymers in detail. These polymers, we produce only granules, and they are further processed by several processors. So I will also talk about a little bit, just touch upon for the benefit of all the participants to know about injection molding, roto molding, extrusion, thermoforming, blown films, and molding, etc. So that you can have a feel how this industry is growing, and it has got a lot of opportunity for jobs also. So yeah, I think it is good to touch on this. We say huge industry, a lot of processors are working. There are very large processors like you can see Neel Kamal or Prince Industry, or I think many other large processors are there. We will talk about those processors also, so that one can find jobs in those industries also, because it has a lot of opportunity. Then another big area in polyolefins is additives and compoundings, because you have to use colors. For coloring, you need additives. For adding in properties like clarifiers and resistance to sun and all, you have to add several additives. So this is again a big industry where several multinationals are there who are offering several additives to be used in while processing polymers in India. You need these additives. Not only India, worldwide, you need additives to process polyolefins. And then another big industry is compounding, where you add a narrative or you color, you process the entire polymer. Again, it goes to the processor. Wherever a very fine kind of compounding is required, it is done separately as an industry. So I will touch upon all these and any other areas also, so that one is clear about the polyolefin market and how it works, how it can be beneficial for the participants in their seeking opportunities in the market. So oil industry is too big, and I think there is a lot of opportunities are always available. So that also we'll discuss how opportunities are available. There are several organizations who are promoting post-graduation in polymer processing. So we will talk about all those things. So this is the intent of putting this polyolefins separately as a session, so that one can know this industry well. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, maybe 70,000 or 80,000 crores worth of industry in India, where almost 10 million ton of polyolefins and almost, I think, 4 million ton of PVC is used in India. So almost 14 million ton industry is there. So it offers a lot of opportunities. So I thought I will share what all is there in this industry. Next one, please. This is the last session, and I feel oil and gas industry cannot be completed without talking of health, safety, and environment, because it's a dangerous product. So it has serious implications. We have seen several accidents in the past, like in Delhi, then Shakur Basti, there was a fire in LPG plant, when cylinders fly to a kilometer or so, and after that several roofs were raised. Then there was a fire in Jaipur, there was a fire in refineries, and several other fires have taken place. There was some crashes happen in the aviation industry also because of the quality. So, and therefore we will talk on health, safety, and environment in detail. That PESO is the organization which gives the license for putting up for transportation, storage, and handling of petroleum products. And OISD I have talked. We will talk about what is there in OISD. It gives you several guidance for laying facilities. It talks about what all inspection should be done. It talks about ERDMP. When we talk of ERDMP, is emergency response disaster management plan. Each installation, each retail outlet has to have a emergency response plan. Then management of change, they talk, because these are all statutory requirements. So that is why I thought I will touch upon. OISD also talks about facility design and layout, what all distance norm should be formed, where all it should be, how far from the population it should be. So if you think of putting anything with respect to oil and gas marketing, everything has to be thought of. So if you are putting an LNG retail outlet, you have to think of what all is in the vicinity, how much it should be the distance of tank to delivery point and everything. So that is why I thought I'll just touch upon, so that you can have a feel about it. If you are thinking of putting a LNG retail outlet, what all you should think of. And then the firefighting facilities, how much water you should have, what kind of pump you should have, whether it should be automated, whether you should have you should have a camera or not. You should have camera installed everywhere, so that it is nowadays government says if you have storing petroleum more than 5,000 kL, you should have cameras. Several laws control all these things. So we'll talk about. And last not the least is the MSDS, that is about detail about material safety data sheets, so that I find in India it is not detailed too much, though people are producing, but this has come into picture now. So material safety. Beg pardon? You're saying something, Nishant?
No, sir. It's fine.
So with this, this is what I have planned for the session, upcoming sessions. And last not the least, additional topic is suggested by participants. Answers to queries to during courses would be there. Participants can raise queries during the sessions, and which we can reply at the end, or in the next session we can cover up. So this is what I have planned, and I hope all the participants who will join, they will be benefited, and it will give a 360-degree view of Indian oil and gas industry, and it will help them in garnering opportunities in this industry. We can also help with where all they can apply, how they can apply. We will talk about several organizations in the end, so that it is benefited in terms of their career also. I think that's all from my side for today. I think its time is also there. I think anything else you want from my side?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Sir, actually, I just want to be very honest, I am working in industry and I have completed my BTech in petroleum engineering in 2019. But believe me, I do not know much more about these things. But today I came to know about all these things, that this is very important to know for any to be a petroleum engineer or any petrochemical engineers. It's very important to know all these things, because it will gives a very overview of all the facilities which is directly involved in the from upstream to downstream sector of oil and gas industry. Including everything. Like in last slides, you have mentioned all the safety related things like MSDS, mock and all, and these are the things which are we will learn in the industry, directly in industry. This is not never teach in the classroom and all.
Obviously.
Yes,
not covered,
because when you transport any chemicals or anything, say from one place to another place, suppose if you want to transport from any chemicals from Mumbai to Assam, so it includes all the MSDS sheet, that how the chemical is hazardous, that and we providing the rating metrics. A lot of metrics are involved in this. So this is very useful, I hope, for all the budding engineers, because we came industry and after 1.5 years, we came to know about MSDS and all.
Yeah, naturally, when we joined the industry, we hardly knew anything about the oil industry. So we had seen only retail outlet, nothing beyond that. So it is important to know industry and the opportunities also. In our time, we were not aware what all opportunities are available. So if you know the entire industry and what all streams are available, that can be useful for the students. That's what I feel.
Yeah, completely agreed, sir. Completely agreed.
Yeah. So I think with this, we can conclude the session. Anything from the participant side, or any queries are there?
Guys, if you have any queries or any doubts related to upcoming session, you can ask a friendly to the sir. He is there.
Guys, please don't hesitate to ask your doubts, because there is no rooms for doubt. Okay, there is a quote in oil and gas industry: there is no room of doubt. So whatever you have doubts, please ask directly to sir. He will clear all your doubts, because this is I think this is a very useful session for all of us. And whatever doubt we have, please clear it. Don't hesitate to ask anything.
No problem. They can send their doubts later on also. They can send it on mail, or they can send their to Rushali, so that we can respond to that.
Okay, so then I'll conclude this session. I'm Vrishali Doi on behalf of Advantage India, and the entire team wants to deliver vote of thanks to sir for the perfect support and guidance you have extended us at our Prelude session for breaking barrel refining technologies. I'm sure that our organization Advantage India will continue to get significant provision from the diverse group in the future. For further more queries and assistance, you can reach out to us and do follow us on social media platform for more updates. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shali.
Yes,
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Sameer sir. It's a very wonderful session, and we will pretty much sure about that. This session will definitely add some value in our career because this is very advanced session for all of us. Because as we are in industry and we are dealing with all these problems, so as a students, if you know all these kinds of informations earlier, so it is very useful for our future. So it's a very big opportunity for us. And guys, try to ask your doubts. If you are not feel comfortable to ask directly to sir, write your queries to directly in the group, or you can join our WhatsApp group, and here we can share you the feedback regarding the sessions. And please follow Advantage India on LinkedIn and Instagram for more updates, because we are sharing on a daily updates regarding market of oil and gas industry. We are sharing the notes, articles, PPTs, everything. So please follow us and get ready to for this session. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so
I
much.
have shared the link for the WhatsApp group. Participants, if you have any queries or anything like that, you can join us on WhatsApp group, and there we can resolve. Some students are asking for the presentation. I'll be sharing the presentation in the group itself. Please join. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Shali. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.